cold night at the Langley Event Centre, home of the Trinity Western Spartans. So glad that you could join us today for Trinity Western Spartans versus Central Washington University Wildcats. Central Washington making their way up from Ellensburg, a small little city over the border in Washington, known for its hay of all things. Its hay. Its claim to fame, and if you're tuning in from Central Washington, we welcome you to this broadcast today at Langley, British Columbia, Canada. Today is the 10th of February, 2022, and lining up for the Wildcats today is starting at number 1 is Cam Nelson, 2, Jonah Avua, number 3, Ivan Pula, 4, Oliver Dryson, 5, John Dupree, 6, playing at blindside, Marquise Folau, 7, Kenneth Payson, 8, Albert O'Shannessy, playing 9, dictating some of the game today, Noah Wright, and at 10, Lewis Holdig. 11, Connor Grand. Inside center, Drew Farrington for the Wildcats, and the man of the hour, the go-to man on the Wildcats, number 13. Keep your eyes on him, an exciting player, Jack Wendling, who played here in Vancouver just recently in the sevens competition, playing for the USA, a talented ball carrier. 14, Mitchell Haraus, and 15, Jack Tregenong. A full bench tonight for the Wildcats: Campbell Robb, Daniel McQuaid, Nick Haviland, Gordon Similanch, Clint Lyman, Lewis Bongian, Kai Jones, and Kelvin Luamaga. Full team today, and for the Wildcats, lining up our starting 15 for the Spartans. At number 1, Favor Olian. 2, Scott Bowers. 3, Grayson Hardy. 4, Daniel DeFries. 5, Josh Halliday, my fans' favorite, and to be honest, my favorite, Josh Halliday, the big fellow. I love seeing this man with the ball in his hand today. 6, Gennaro Gandolfo. 7, Nate Schroeder. 8, Caleb Girth. 9, Finn Murphy. 10, Keegan Marengo, the South African and playmaker. What a gifted player he is. 11, Connor Bernardin. 12, Colin Legat. 13, at outside center, Ether Bernardin, the brothers there playing shoulder to shoulder with each other. 14, Lyndon Duggan, and the 15th, holding it back at fullback, Matthew Willemse, the South African import, with ball in hand, exciting as they come, and has got a huge left boot to back up his running play. 16, James Alhas. 17, Ben Tyndall. 18, Kyle Morfitt. 19, Caleb Fantil. 20, David Weregard. 21, Jan Lawrence. 22, Isaiah DePisa. And 23, Max Darcy. I'm sure we're going to see both teams full roster today as they play today. Just a reminder, the last time these two teams faced each other was this time 2 years ago, February 14th, and to be honest, it wasn't a sweet Valentine's Day for Trinity Western on that day, where they got absolutely, there's no other word for it, pumped, 76-10. Speaking to the coaches before the game, they both agree that this is a very, very different team. Trinity coming with a whole bunch of new starters. They've had a whole revamp of their team, and coming off for their first time a 2-game win streak that Trinity are. They're sitting at 2-6. Will be entering this game with a lot of confidence, but playing at home, wanting to make an impact here against a team that 2 years ago gave them an absolute hiding. And so a big game, a little bit of a redemption match today for Trinity to reinstall themselves as a force to be reckoned here up in the northwest of North America here. Central Washington University Wildcats versus Trinity Western Spartans. If you are joining us today, thank you. Good evening from the Langley Event Centre here in Langley, British Columbia, which is going to be a colossal battle between these two rugby titans coming together here. We were unsure where the game was going to go on, a bit of a delay here with the floodlights finally coming on, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a kickoff here shortly. Trinity Western kicking off today. A big 80 minutes in store for you guys. I hope you have got yourself comfortable and are in for a treat this evening. Two big rugby teams trying to make an impact right off the first whistle here. We are off. Game is on. Ball in hand is Keegan Marengo. straight down the middle of the park, collected. Oh, and it's a little knock on there. The pressure coming early. And these are the instrumental parts of the game. The first kickoff, the first touch, the first run, the first kick. Some of these things that happen right away, and you can see the excitement of the Trinity Western backline, knowing that they're in their half and they're going to have the first opportunity with ball in hand. A little bit of pressure there on the wing, on that side, on the right wing. Mitchell Harosa, I think it was. First put in of the game here by Noah Wright. He wants a clean, and it's so important here that the forwards create a great base for him with Caleb at the back of the pack there for Trinity, creating a platform here for Finn. Finn Murphy with the ball in hand. Out to Willemse. Willemse sends the ball, and now 14, Lyndon Duggan with ball in hand. Exciting, there we go. Really, really ambitious stuff here from Trinity. I love to see that they're running with ball in hand and going wide straight away in these conditions. A little bit of damp on the floor, but it's great conditions for playing rugby. And straight off the bat, Trinity are showing a desire and a hunger to want to run with ball in hand. Line out throw here by Jonah Avua. And it's a clean take by the Wildcats. Looking to clear their lines. Big kick. And back here, Lyndon Duggan lets the ball go straight into touch. 50-50 call there, and I think he made the right decision. Parked in the Wildcats half. Trinity, first couple moments, will take a lot of confidence from this, that they've been into the Wildcats half for the beginning of this game. But you know what, territory and possession means nothing unless they translate to points on the board. And this is where they've got another opportunity to run the ball through their hands and make an impact in the middle of the park. Big throw here from Scott. It's gone over there. Referee will play it on. Dictating a little bit of traffic there. Finn Murphy playing to Keegan, and they go wild again. Willemse with gone through his hands, and that he'll be kicking himself there. The ball, just a little bit of damp on his hands, gone backwards, so still Trinity's ball, and Willemse uses that left foot to pin the Wildcats back in their half, and it's going to be a bit of a ping-pong back over there. Important that Trinity get back behind the ball to use it, and Willemse is going to put that big left foot on it once again. What a kick. Testing their little winger, and, you know, under the high ball for the second time, unsuccessful the first, but their little wing on the right-hand side there, successful for this catch and steady with his hands. A nice little comeback after dropping that first ball. Deep into the Wildcats half, it'll be a Trinity Western throw against. Scott has got to make sure that he's hitting a player here. Last throw went wild and over the. Great, nice take there by Nate Schroeder. Ball in hand, but it looks like it's been a bit of a turnover. Wildcats with ball in hand. Trinity setting up defensively. Very quiet today. Very quiet. No talking. Looks like it's offside by the Spartans. The Wildcats will have an opportunity to relieve some of the pressure and hopefully get them out of their half. Big kick, but doesn't make touch. Into the back to Willemse with the big left boot. And out, and a wonderful, and a big kick. And unfortunately, straight out on the full. A little bit further than Matthew would have liked. He's kicking himself, and understandably so. Moments like this are not defining on a game. These are the times where we are still trying to find our rage. And Willemse has put a few boosts off the balls off the boots so far this game, and two have been successful on that one, just going a little bit further than he would like. Throw in there with Jonah Avua. And through the arms, Spartans have it. That's a turnover. Forwards looking to keep it tight in there, creating a bit of a platform there for Caleb to clear some pressure. A little box kick from the scrum half, and that's a great kick And a big stick from Colin Lagat. That's the kind of stick that can define a game. Huge stick. Gives a lot of excitement there for the Trinity players. And the Wildcats put the ball through their hand. And this is a great run there and a great clean out. Wildcats with all the possession here. And they put a little dink over. Was that the right decision? A great little kick and a makes touch. They are going to be parked on the Spartans' 5-meter line here, with the Spartans with a lot of pressure. First opportunity there that we've seen the Wildcats running with ball in hand, and immediately they find a gap inside the center of the park with both Colin and Ethan having to talk a little bit more in the center of the park. They are your fortress in the middle. And to be honest, as a centers pairing, they should be talking and not allowing them to have broke through the line too easily. They're looking for a clean line-out throw here by Scott. And Scott finds his target, but a knock on here from Spartans. And over the line they get. First points on the board. Central Washington University Wildcats. And that came from, to be honest, a complete turn in momentum. Spartans have spent the most of the first half parked inside the Wildcats half. And then a poor kick by Willemse, turnover, and all of a sudden we got points on the board going in the wrong direction. Trinity Western 0, Central Washington Wildcats 5, with the conversion to come from number 10, Lewis Holder. Again, 80 minutes is a long, long time to be playing rugby, and these guys will not be panicking at this point, but be understanding that some of these fundamentals, communication, coming up together, togetherness, picking yourself up when your head drops, working together, some of these small little disciplinary things around the ruck will be really impacting that. A little bit of noise here on the sidelines before the kick. And Lewis unsuccessful for the first kick. First points on the doors tonight. Central Washington University Wildcats 5, Trinity Western 0. We'll be watching the highlight reel from that hit from Colin Lagat. What a hit in the park. And I'll tell you what, he will be excited and wanting to make another stick like that and raise his whole team's motivation here. A little bit of talking from Colin, which is nice to see. Quiet from Trinity tonight. And Wildcats happy to play a little bit of pod rugby here. Just play a little bit of pod rugby, keeping in the forwards. Playing around the loosies. A little pick and go and the little scrum off there. Noah Wright trying to dictate play. Cleared there by Lewis Holdridge. Up in the air, big kick and safe hands. Willemse wanted to make fine touch here with the kick. Great kick. He's going to have to cover here. Big take. And now Keegan's looking to find some direction. It's a little bit of ping pong back and forth here. Is he going to look to run? Looking to run from the deep inside of them. Again, Trinity with a little bit of holes in their back line. They've got to be coming up in a defensive line together. A lot of time being played inside this 10-meter line here of the Wildcats. And Wildcats, for the second time today, going wide. They've kept the ball pretty close and tight. Happy to run it between some pod play here and let their big fellas take the ball in the middle of the pack. Slow ball here. This will suit Trinity here, and it looks like there's going to be a little box kick here from the scrum off. Trying to find a little bit of possession and a great chase from the Wildcats with a little bit of a knock-on coming from Wildcats. It'll be the Spartan put in and the scrum there. A little bit of ping-pong back and forth. Both fullbacks, Matthew Willemse and Jack Tregenig, exchanging some beautiful kicks back and forth. I think both of them trying to test them out. The real key here, we know very well about Matthew's boot, but the ball in hand is what we would love to see him running at. unfortunately, he hasn't been given a whole bunch of opportunities with them playing a lot of defensive rugby here. Beautiful evening this evening, probably about 9 degrees here at the Langley Event Centre. This is perfect rugby weather. A little bit of dew on the floor, so the ball can be a little bit slippery, but you'll take these conditions every single day for rugby. Running perfect conditions to put the ball through their hands and exchange them. It's so important at all of these set pieces that Finn is getting clean ball to Keegan and allows Keegan to have options outside of him, inside of him, and be able to dictate pace. He's really at the mercy of that foundation that the forwards are providing for Finn. A big test here for both packs to see an opportunity to set a foundation and a clean foundation that looks like. Finn with a Keegan going through. And unfortunately straight off the hands of Ethan Bernardin. Ethan just lifting his hands up for just a fraction of a second, more concerned with the defender than actually making sure that that ball is secured in his hands. First opportunity for him to run, but again, he's kicking himself. He can shake that off. He's touched the ball now. He's tried to drop on. It can only go up from here. Just defensively setting up. But we mentioned here at the beginning of the game, Jack Wendling, their number 13, playing for Sevens for the USA. Talented player in the middle of the park. We haven't seen him yet with ball in hand, but it's going to be an exciting matchup here between Ethan and Jack in the middle of the park. I love watching two outside centers, a battle for domination, and who's going to come out on top this evening. Ethan wanted to really take a claim on this position on the outside center. Such a crucial position in the middle of the park and an opportunity to really put his stamp of physicality on the game. His inside center, 12, Colin Legat, with probably the biggest hit of the game and probably the biggest physicality we've seen so far from both teams. All to play for still here, 5-2. The Wildcats, 0 to the Spartans, with no right with the put in at the scrum. And that is a huge call. A massive confidence boost for the Trinity Western Spartans. And this is the foundation I was talking about. There's an old saying that say forwards win you matches and backs determine how much you win by. And that is so true. All the hard yards done there in the scrums, no one really understands. It is a true mystery what happens inside of those scrums. And it's kept into the select few who have the privilege and joy of putting on 1 through 8. The dark arts of rugby in the forward play. Again, a bit loose here at the linehouse throw. Really important that Scott finds his target here, and that is much better. Clean take by Gennaro, and a nice run there. Caleb cleaning out the ball, and he decides to come back this way. Keegan dictating play. Colin with running at his opposite number. Still here. A lot of talk here from Willemse looking for the ball, and he puts it straight up in the air, testing the fullback. And no one claims that ball. No one claims it. But Trinity look like they got the ball back in possession. They need to create a base here. And it's backwards. Keegan will be talking to Finn and just saying, slow the ball down here, Finn. I need clean ball. And Willemse the first time with the ball in hand. Beating the first defender and then releasing Colin out left. Exchange, it looks like Gennaro's come off second best there, carrying off to second or third phase into it, taking a big stick and going ratted it a little bit, potentially just got his air knocked out. A little bit frantic there from Spartans, if we're completely honest. It's almost like we got all the ball in our hands, and now they need composure. That composure has got to come from Finn Murphy. Finn is the dictator. He's our quarterback of the game. That scrum half gets to be the link, the bridge between the forwards and the backs, talking to the forwards, liaising with them, directing traffic, directing the defensive system, and then making sure that he's getting clean ball for Keegan. At the moment, it's been messy. It's been frantic. It's been rushed. And if they can just slow the ball down and allow the Wildcats to play at their pace when they've got ball in hand, they can start to put their stamp on this game. Again, most of the half, they will take a lot of confidence from the Spartans. Most of the half has been played in the Wildcats half, but where it matters is on the scoreboard, and Wildcats are still leading by 5 points. 1 try to none, 5-0 to the Wildcats. But still so much to play for in this game. Backs are an opportunity there for the backs to run, put the ball through their hands again. And now an opportunity just outside the 22-meter line here, right in deep inside of the Wildcats half for Spartans to be able to take clean ball, and and that's stolen by the Wildcats. Spartans on the back foot. Noah looking for clean ball. Noah right at the back of the ruck there and putting his little box over. Trying to test Connor, but to be honest, a poor kick. In the modern game, you see that scrum half with they're using their boots so much in recent times, and that is really an element of the game that the modern scrum half has got to add. And the few kicks that we've seen of Noah have been fantastic, but just that one just off the mark. Looks like it exchanged hands a few times there between Wildcats and the Spartans. Back in the hands with Spartans with number 5. Beautiful. Josh Halliday with a big stick, making his presence known during this game. There's Scott too. These are these opportunities that the boys have got to start staking their claim in. Offside there, and the play will come back. A little bit of indiscipline there from the Wildcats, just wanting to put pressure on the Spartans and force the error, but unfortunately came offside, and now Trinity have an opportunity to put points on the board. A big kick, an ambitious kick. This kind of ambition that you think, do we go here and take possession and kick deep inside of the half when you've got a person like Matthew Willemse with the boot that he has, you know you can pin a team back in the half? Or do you take points when they're on offer? And when you've got the kicking leg and kicking boot of Keegan Marengo, who's confident to step up, these are the big game players you love with they've got the ball in their hand or ball at their feet. Keegan steps up, and a very ambitious kick, but he is confident that he can get this. It's a loose kick, and it's a chase here from the Spartans. And that is a big stick from Colin Legat. Colin Legat with the 2 big hits of the game. A standout player early on and making sure that he is known. Absolutely beautiful. For any neutral of the game watching this game, they'll be excited about what Colin Legat has shown today. Pure physicality, and from an inside center willing to put his body on the line, it is exciting. This is the kind of stuff that gives you goosebumps watching as a supporter of rugby. Watching a man who's willing to put his body on the line. Big turnover here, put in at the scrum by Finn Murphy. Trinity creating that base here for Finn to Keegan. Goes deep. Oh. And a drop there by Lyndon Duggan, unfortunately. It looks like it's a turnover, and it's going to be a penalty. Looks like Spartans were holding onto the ball, and it's a penalty over there. Again, it looked like a bit of a knock-on before that, but the referee is going to give them the penalty rather than the scrum. And the Wildcats have an opportunity to relieve pressure. Big kick, big kick, and able to find touch. Fantastic kick there. by Lewis Holdig. End-to-end stuff here. Now camped in the Spartans half, and an opportunity for Lewis to let his backline go. Last time you'll remember that it was in this position right about here that they broke through the line and scored a try. Trinity will be hoping that this isn't the case again here. That's 2 penalties in a row for not letting go. The rule there for anybody wanting to know is once you've made a tackle, you have to release the player that you've tackled, and not only release the player, but you need to move out of obstructing the opposite team from recalling that ball. If you are lazy in rolling that away, if you delay that roll, the referee, and rightly so, is going to penalize you. The whole laws of rugby are set up to make sure that the game is free-flowing, and anything that is going to hinder that is going to be penalized. Throw in here with Jonah Alvaya. It's gone forward off the Wildcats. Referee not happy with something he saw there. Not happy with something he saw there with one of the big fellas letting out a bit of a yelp. Never like seeing a man walk off like that. Such a physical game to see a man who's wanting to play on but in a lot of pain. Looks like that's Marquis Foleau. And we really hope that he is able to recover and that he's just taken a little bit of a stinger on the leg, but that yelp was concerning. Fortunately was able to hobble off. I hope that is not any major damage there. His replacement coming onto the field. It looks like it's a permanent injury, and he's not going to... That's the last we're going to see of Marquis Foleau, made on by... substituted by Clint Layman. And we got to say, if there's any hairdressers in the crowd today, they will be admiring the pure beauty that is the mullet of Clint Layman. We have to give credit where credit due. That is a beautiful mullet, and I can't wait for that wind to hit that mullet and see that flowing in the wind tonight. Put in here at the Spartans, Finn Murphy. He's looking for a clean ball, an opportunity for Keegan to clear the lines. Therefore, probably the most ambitious player today, Colin Legut, confident with ball in hand, confident on attack, confident in defense. Josh Halliday taking the ball up, trying to clear. And again, both teams now being penalized for not releasing the player winners on the ground. Little bit of indiscipline. You saw how much ground the Wildcats were able to gain by a little bit of indiscipline. Back-to-back penalties by the Spartans. And then, if they haven't learned from their opposite team's mistakes, the Wildcats are also guilty of doing the same thing, not releasing the player. These moments here with Scott, a lot of pressure here with this boy to get the ball in and get clean ball. We talk about foundations in rugby. These set pieces, your scrums and your lineouts, create a foundation to produce clean ball like that. That is the cleanest ball we've seen today. And unfortunately, big stick there. Caleb running ambitiously in the middle of the park. Ball loose. And a big clear out there by Favor. Caleb stayed down in the middle of the park there, Caleb Girth. Slowly getting up. I think he's got his bell rung a little bit. Medic's going to give him a look. Really important player here that we need him back on the pitch. Caleb looks like he's back in the on the field, and a little bit of football skills here from Willemse back there, and a big kick. All those players have got to make sure that they move backwards, and they're all on side here. With the Wildcats willing to throw the ball around to the winger here, Connor Grand running over the his opposite number. Lyndon Duggan, but Lyndon kind of holding his ground there and still shake of the head. Ball coming out. Wildcats looking to run the ball wide. The willingness and desire of the Wildcats to spread the ball is exciting. They just haven't really been able to execute on the third or fourth phase. We're looking at phase probably 4 at the moment. And this is patient rugby. Patient rugby here from the Wildcats. Willing to run the ball slowly. And again, looking up and saying, Colin, in your face. Another error forced by Colin Legat. Having an absolute stormer of a game, Colin is. He seems to be showing up everywhere with putting in big sticks. And another forced error by Colin. Hands on his head, and so he should be. He's working his tail off this evening. Caleb Girth seeing okay, and the Spartan bench and coaching staff will be breathing a big sigh of relief. A really important player there at the back of the pack, Caleb Girth, their captain and their talisman, running very confidently there in the middle of the park, but coming a little bit second off of the collision that was made. Don't want to speak too early because the last line out was clean ball. Finn just struggling to execute that ball, and the ball popping out again. It's just a little bit sloppy from the Spartans. Ball in hand, but they're wanting a little bit of clean ball. Back to Willemse again, and looks like a tactic they're wanting to use here. And is there big kick deep in their half, and they're going to play this territory, Graham. This looks like it looks like a tactic that the Spartans are willing to do to play the kicking game and utilize their boot. Again, they've gained a little bit of yards with the return kick from Lewis Holdig. A little bit of a kick return. We haven't really seen the Spartans run and see they put together a couple of phases in the middle of the park. It's when teams are willing to have that patience. Maybe that's the word of the day today, patience. Have the patience to break down a team. To be on the back foot, tackling and tackling and tackling and realigning your defensive formation and getting hit back and back and back is tiring. And it's the patience that wins the game, that you're willing to play this game and wait and wait and wait. A loose ball. It's a big stick in the middle of the park. Little box kick there, but first time we've seen him. Little ball in hand there with Finn Murphy putting the boot on. It's a nice little kick, and penalty against Spartans. Players leaving their feet and going directly on the ruck. You have to keep on your feet and you can't go out. You need to create a low platform and drive up rather than come from a high position and driving down in your ruck. And they penalize, and because of that, they're going to be positioned deep in their half. Failed to make touch. Willemse with ball in hand, and he's going to place a big kick on it and relieve pressure from them, put them back on the halfway. And we're back where we started. It's a wasted kick. Again, patience. Sometimes it's worth, not going that extra 5-10 meters and making sure you find touch rather than trying to push at the edge of your range and missing touch. And now we're back where we started, and Lewis will be kicking himself with that. Little knock on. Middle of the park. This is a great opportunity here for the Spartans. They're in the middle of the park. They can split their back line. They have options left or right. We see Keegan and Colin splitting up here. Keegan on the right. Willemse and Colin going left. They've got options both of the park. And now the back line of the Wildcats having to make decisions about how they're going to split their defensive pack up here. Front rows Haven't said a whole bunch about Grayson here in favor. I really like the two big boys up front, other than creating the great platform here for their scrum, which they would be very excited about the way it's gone. And they decided to go right here and it's dropped by Lyndon Duggan. He'll be kicking himself. And a big gap. I think he got wide-eyed then, got excited about that. And gets up, Lyndon, and unfortunately gets penalized for coming in from the side. You can guarantee Lewis is going to make touch here. Not wanting to make... Sorry, not Lewis. Jack Trenogan, making sure he was found touch here there. Throwing the line out here by Jonah Ovea. Wanting clean ball, and then the Spartan lineup with just a short lineup. 4-man lineup in there. The ball is released and they go wide again. Again. Who is the player? Yes, you guessed it. Colin Lagat with the stick in the middle of the park. Who is this man? And I tell you what, he has got the attention of any scout out of here today. He is having a fantastic game defensively. We just want to see him with the ball in hand. Defensively, he is answering all the questions that the Wildcats are throwing their way. He will be on cloud number 9 with the kind of defensive performance that he has put in this evening. Absolutely beautiful. Trinity is still 5 points behind. It's a close game, end-to-end things. Both teams in exchanging possession between the halves. And Josh Halliday, they're running at the plan. Unfortunately, not making a whole bunch of ground there. Lovely clear out there by Caleb. Finn trying to direct the pack. Favor doing the hard work of clearing out and creating some platform here. Far end of the pitch there. It looks like a few of those missed passes. We've seen them from both teams. They get out to the inside center and they're missing the outside center, going to the wing, and you know, it's a numbers game. Sometimes running the ball through the hands is some of the most effective things. Nothing fancy, nothing technical, just simple basics rugby. Keegan Marango answering the call there and holding up the player. Fantastic work there by Keegan. And they go right. Trinity there holding their line up, holding their line. And the Wildcats determined just to run it into with their big forwards. Playing phase attack. This is something we haven't seen from the Spartans. And again, they will take it and then through the middle of the park, looking inside. And a nice covering tackle there. Penalty against Spartans. Wildcats right in front of the poles here. And you would imagine that the Wildcats would take the 3 points that are on offer and put this beyond a converted trial. I may be wrong. No, they're going to go for touch. Jack Tregoning with the ball in hand, finding touch. And the Wildcats make a statement with that kick saying, we're not willing to lay down. We believe that the pressure, the momentum is on our side, and we're going to do our best to pin these Spartans back over their try line again. Ambitious stuff, and you have to admire that from the team. If they convert here, it will be a great decision. If they don't convert here and convert this pressure into points, that moment will be haunting them, saying, you know what, we should have taken that penalty there. Keeping the ball in hand again. A little bit more talking here from the Spartans on defensively. big shouts to spread their team. Looks like that ball is held up. Interesting to see what the referee will say here. Penalty to the Wildcats. Not too sure what happened there, but they're going to do a tap and go here. Right close there, within 5 meters here. This is where the Spartans have got to hold up. And the referee's been called to the side by the... Not sure, too sure what's going on here. A little break in the play. Not sure if the referee's having a word here with some of the coaching staff. Sorry, I can't give you any more information. Our ref is not marked up today, so I'm not able to communicate exactly what's going on. All we do know that the last play was Wildcats with the last 5 or 6 minutes with continued pressure on the Spartans. Questions are being asked of this defensive line, of both the pack and the back line. Will they crack? Will be the big question. Or will they crack? Will there be a crack in the chink in the armor of the Spartans this evening? Or will they find a resolve, something deep within them to hold out here on their try line? I tell you what, a lot of confidence will be taken from this defensive effort if they're able to hold off here the Wildcats from being able to put more points on the board. Going into halftime, just 5 points down will be a great confidence boost. A little bit of delay here. It looks like we are okay, and the referee's back in action. The Wildcats are going to back themselves here with a little tap and go. Spartans make their first tackle, and it's a drop. And it's a drop, and it's a turnover by the Spartans. And the crowd goes absolutely wild. You've got to say that that's a huge missed opportunity there by the Wildcats. Opportunity put deep, being camped deep inside of the Spartan half. And not converting that to points. Referee unhappy with something here. Looks like there's a small knock on. While coming back to that original knock on from the Wildcats. No playing advantage here. No advantage given to Spartans. And so we'll come back to the original infraction. That's the knock on by the Wildcats. A great pressure there by the Spartans. And again, a confidence boost. You know, it's in rugby, like any sport, when you're playing with confidence, it's the X factor. It's the extra player on the pitch. It's the extra couple percent that you get. And when you scored a try, when you've had a run, when you've made a big stick, when you've made touch, those are all confidence things that gather during the whole game and accumulate. And when there's something just different, or this team has just something different, what we often communicating is confidence. It's a small percentage that slowly gather 1% here and 0.5% there and a 1% there that gains and gets a team confidence. Feels like momentum is shifting. And now they've got a huge opportunity, the Spartans. They've decided to back themselves, running deep from their half. And now they've got an opportunity to put their laces through the leather and find some ground here on the pitch. Line out just inside of the Wildcats half. Central Washington University leading the game 5-0, one try to nothing. Weren't able to convert their conversion of their try. And also Trinity with the missed penalty. Keegan just not really striking the ball correctly. An ambitious kick from just inside the 10-yard line, 10-meter line, and just coming short on that kick. So all to play for in this game, 5-0. Remind you that the Wildcats did have what we call a sitter right in front of the poles, an easy 3 points to take their lead to 8 points, and they decided to run the ball and unfortunately didn't convert that into points. So That will be a talking point, definitely in the change room at halftime, talking about taking points when they're on offer. Scott with the line-out throw. Josh Halliday lining up. For such a big man, it's interesting to see if he can impose himself on this game with this run even. Here we go. Beautiful. Makes the gain line. That's all you're looking for. Is just get past that gain line. Beautiful little kick by Keegan. A little bit of show. A little bit of flair there by Keegan. Trying to put the ball over with Willemse, and unfortunately not able to gather the ball there. Thinking creatively of how they're going to break down this Wildcats back line. They haven't really tested them a whole bunch. Most of the tackles been made really in the pack by their loose forwards. So interesting to see whether we could, the Spartans can really test the Wildcats back line, but it's not them that's going to be tested right now. The Spartans defense is going to have to hold tight as the Wildcats throw the ball through the hands with Noah Wright putting the ball in. Penalty here. Looks like he's penalized Favor there from not having his bind going straight. Favor going slightly, changing his angle and his entry into that scrum a little bit sideways and being penalized for it. Such a technical position, front row. Both props really at battle, literally head to head with their opposite numbers, and Favor unfortunately just coming on the wrong side of that decision there. Great kick there by Jack Tregoning. Another lefty. Both fullbacks with lefties tonight, and Jack also with a beautiful boot. Line out throw right inside the 10-meter line here for the Central Washington Wildcats. And whether they can convert this to points. The ball going wide here. Nifty little player there, Mitchell Harose. Quick as they come, and this guy breaks through the line here. Penalized, and again not releasing the tackler. This is the third time that the referee's blown up the Spartans, and it's at this point in the game, after multiple penalties, that you're asking yourself, is the referee going to go to his pocket and show a yellow card, send somebody to the bleachers for 10 minutes to think about their actions? You think it's getting to both teams being penalized for the same problem. They're not releasing the tackler, and now they're camped within the 5-meter line of the Spartans, with Wildcats wanted to convert pressure here into points. This may be their last opportunity before the end of the half to be able to put points on the board here. Spartans legally collapsing the maul there, not allowing the Wildcats to get any momentum, and a big stick there in the middle of the park. I think that's Caleb Van Til there with a huge hit. Caleb, exciting. That is how a captain leads. He leads by example by putting his body on the line. Less talk and more action here, and all of the players will be thinking, man, my captain has done that. I can put my body on the line here too. And it looks like the Spartans are answering the call. Can they withstand the regular pressure here? And the answer is yes. Once again, defensively answering all the questions that are being thrown their way in Wildcats. And if you look at the course of the first half, you got to say that that first trial was just a small lapse of concentration where it opened up in the middle of the park, and now there's a try. That's our first half over for this evening. I want to thank you all for joining us at the Langley Event Center, the home of the Trinity Western Spartans. Trinity Western Spartans, where the Central Washington University Wildcats are taking on Trinity Western Spartans. Tale of two halves. The first half with sustained pressure from both teams, but where it matters most is on the scoreboard, and Only 5 points, one unconverted try to the Wildcats, leading Trinity Western 5-0, with the Wildcats missing their conversion and also Keegan Marengo missing a penalty from a very ambitious position in the park. Potential to be 7-3, but it's 5-0 going into the second half with the Wildcats with the kickoff. A big 40 minutes for both teams, and both wanted to make a statement right off the kickoff here. Great take there, but Caleb until on the park. And an unforced error there from Matthew Willemse. The little knock on there with the ball coming back to him. He's had a lot of ball in hand today, having to relieve a lot of pressure throughout the game, and just ball going through his hands, and he'll be kicking himself for that one, but having to pick up his head straight away because they're on the defensive here. Spartans have really created a beautiful platform with their forwards today. Both Favor, Scott and Grayson in the pack, with Daniel, Josh, Gennaro, Nathan, Caleb, Girth, creating a great platform. And to be honest, provided when the cores have gone 50-50, going in the direction of the Spartans with the forwards creating it. Just first phase rugby here from the Wildcats. Happy to keep ball tight into near their forwards and looking. This is phase 3. Just looking to run the ball around through their rucks and taking it on. And Trinity patiently willing to sustain that. Trust their inside man. Trust their process. Trust their player next to them and break down an attack. Patience on attack, but patience defensively. If that is my word for today, and the word that I would be saying at halftime is be patient. Willemse missing touch here. Big stick there from Nate Schroeder. Nice to see the man with putting his body on the line here. And then big Grayson Hardy also putting his head down and making that tackle. Love it. Wildcats willing to go wide here, spreading the ball through their hands. Can Spartans defense here just remain patient and wear down that? That looks like it's been a turnover. A great turnover there by James Almus. Ripping the ball in the tackle. What an art to just not only make a tackle, but also to be able to turn over possession. Willemse with the boot. Not able to find touch or be able to... This is the 13 from the Wildcats here who claim to fame Jack Wendling, the vice captain who played USA Sevens here. And again, Holiday with the big stick. Love watching that man throw his body on the line. Ball coming out. And something special about a man running with pace like that. Halliday's opposite number, John Dupree, also running at pace. Trying to break down that defensive line, and it looks like Favor Olanian has come off their second best. The big man is on his back. Haven't had to say Favor's name a whole bunch in Grayson, but want to remind you all that that front row creates your platform, the foundation, the strength, the bedrock of your scrum. And the ball today, if I was Finn Murphy, I'd be thanking my forwards because the ball has been relatively clean today. He's got clean ball, and now just to work on the transitionary play between Finn and Keegan Marengo. If they can find the missing link between 9 and 10 and release Connor and Colin Lagat, who, by the way, has been my standout player of the match. Colin Lagat has had a first half, and if he has anything like the second half, like he had a first half, he's putting us his hand for a man of the match performance today with every aspect of physicality, putting it up. Unfortunately, here, seeing another man leave the picture in Favor. Nobody likes seeing a big forward limp off the picture. But this is the nature of the game. Is if you're going to go out, that's how the way you want to go out after you've given 100%. And then they decide now's the time to make a complete front row change with Favour, with Grayson joining his partner in crime there and leaving the pitch. I was just about to say Grayson started the half really excitingly, putting in 2 big sticks back to back. And he'll be happy with the way that he ended that half. Obviously not happy to be leaving the pitch, but now replaced by the bench. And Trinity able to use the full extent of their bench, and I'm sure that the Wildcats would do the same. Trinity with the put in at the scrum, Finn Murphy. Let's see how this front row handles it. Connor Bernard just putting the ball through his hands just slightly. It was tight play and probably ambitious from Willemse to put the ball through the hands, but really Connor's got to do better there. Second phase here from the Central Washington Wildcats. And straight the way through. And that was Lewis Holdridge with a great break. And now putting the ball through the hands. Yeah, coming inside. And it's desperate stuff here from the Spartans. Offside here from the Spartans, and they'll come back for the penalty. Again, an opportunity to put points on the line. And I tell you what, the Spartans will be breathing a huge sigh of relief that wasn't a whistle going 5 points in the opposite direction. They've got an opportunity here to regather, regroup, and now hopefully force a turnover in this line out. Spartans still trailing Central Washington University 5-0 with just one unconverted try in the first half. Within the first 5 minutes, that first score coming. No more scores and wholesale changes here for the Central Washington University Wildcats, including their hooker. And Jonah Ovao has been fantastic. I can say his line-out play, if you could just gauge that, has been fantastic. And his opposite, his replacement, Campbell Robb, is also successful with the line-out throw. Desperate stuff here. Spartans trying to get underneath. And that looks like it's an offside there by number 19, Caleb Funtil. Just a little bit eager to get over there and held up by Spartans. And that's a score there. Not sure exactly who managed to get over the line eventually, but it looks like that was either Marquis or John Dupree who managed to get over. So that's another score there for Central Washington University Wildcats. The first half, Trinity sustained extensive pressure on their line and were able to answer all their questions time and time again on the line. And at the start of the second half, they will not be pleased with the small lapse of concentration there. Unforced error by Connor here on the wing. And now that's resulted in another 7 points on the board. We're looking at Central Washington University 12, Trinity Western University 0. 2 converted tries away from turning this game around. And there's still so much to play for, nothing to drop your head about. And it's just some of the fundamentals. Patience in defense, giving away needless penalties, and just trusting the process, the man inside of you, the man outside of you. And great take there by Mitchell Hiros. Mitchell, small little player, but man, he's got beautiful feet. Ball a little bit loose there, but it looks like it went backwards. Wildcats feel like they've found another gear here. Happy to throw the ball through their hands. And to be honest, the defensive line of the Spartans looks in 6 and 7s. They're on their back foot, and the Wildcats are just being relentless here. putting the ball through their hands, willing to... Oh! Just the last little bit of execution there. And they've run that from inside their 10 half to inside the Spartans 10. They'll be disappointed not to be able to convert that and transform all that pressure, all that position, all that beautiful running game into points. But they will be happy with 90% of what just happened there. Sustained pressure, running off each other's shoulders, breaking tackles, being able to release the ball inside the tackle, very excited. And look at the body position of the Wildcats. Already they look different. It looks like they've got that confidence. That extra momentum seems to be with them. And Trinity need to do something quick to change the momentum of this game. They're going to need to relieve pressure here, take a deep breath, gather them, and this is the opportunity, a little free kick. Wildcats entering that scrum a little bit early. No, right. Backline not coming up together. Spartans have got to decide to dictate the pace of this game, but when you're on the back foot, it's really difficult to do that. And again, don't throw the ball away. Unfortunately, Spartans turning over the ball and then throwing the ball away. Daniel De Vries, you just got to be patient. Daniel, turn over the ball. Now what you do is you secure the ball, create a platform, and let your team throw there's times in the game where there's a 50-50 pass, and the 50-50 passes on. Deep inside of your half, when you've had sustained pressure, is not the time or the place to be throwing that 50-50 pass, and you've got to say that was a wrong decision. Decision making here, and we're looking for the leaders in the Trinity Western Spartans team to arise tonight. Who's going to be the guys that decide that they're going to turn the momentum of the game in their favor? And if you're looking around, you got to look directly to Keegan and say, Keegan, Keegan, we need to stop playing our game. And what is that going to look like, Keegan? We're going to play a kicking game. We're going to play a running game. We're going to play a physical game. We're going to play a rush defense. We need us to have a really clear strategy here. Stick to our strategy. Stick to our guns. Stick to what we know how to play. Trust the process and then play our game. At this level, all these players can play rugby. They know how to throw the ball around. They know how to do their fundamentals. It's just sometimes remembering some of those things and coming back to the basics on an evening that's a beautiful evening for rugby. Not letting the nerves get too much of you, not allowing your head to drop, and just being able to say, we have an opportunity to get back in this game. It's a 12-point game, 2 tries, and Trinity are back in it. And Wildcats will be hoping that they can keep Trinity pinned back in their half here. And that's a great push there from the Wildcats, and it's a turnover. It's a turnover. And a messy ball leaving the scrum. Again, it's not until you see a guy like Favor and Grayson leave the park, and it looks like Caleb has also made way, Caleb Girth, that you realize a couple of key people in key positions, that the scrum's integrity and strength is all of a sudden gone. There'll be a line-out throw here for the Spartans. One in a clean take. Nice take. And running deep inside the heart, I think that's Josh Halliday again. Nice clean take of the line-up by Caleb Van Til. Nice to say that boy's name again. And Willems are putting the laces through the boots. And unfortunately, Matthew Willems has kicked the ball out on the field. Second time he's done that tonight. His range is just so big. I think he underestimates how big his boot really is. He's able to kick that ball like... It's incredible to watch him kick it, but just the accuracy just slightly off this evening. Clean ball there. And hard yards. And a nice take there by Daniel De Vries Daniel looks like he's getting a little bit excited there and getting into the game, willing to put his body on the line, find another level inside of him. A little bit more talk there from the Spartans. And big Josh Halliday with a lovely take. Lovely tackle. Looking at his stats this past week, remarkable. His yards carried, tackles made, amazing. And you want those big men right near the action, pushing everybody in, pushing everybody in. There we go, Halliday again, putting the body on the line, Josh Halliday. Wildcats are coming through, and now it's Jack Tregening, who looks like he's crossed the line. Bojangles shows the ball inside, outside, has a step, and now he's put another try on the board. These are pivotal moments in the game where, you know, things don't go your way. You're on your back foot. You've been making tackle after tackle. Your body's tired, and there's no excuses to not be doing your fundamentals. But it's a 15-man game, and more than that, you've got a solid bench. And if everyone's not putting 100% out there, it's a great opportunity to use your full extent of your bench. But every player needs to put up their hand and be counted, especially at this point in the game, where now they're looking at 17 points to 0, and if this goes over, it will be 19-0 to the Wildcats. Central Washington University with all the momentum and all the points in the second half. And what a kick that is. That's a beautiful kick straight down the center of the post there by Noah Wright. Noah is 2 from 3 this evening, converting 2 of those tries and missing that first kick of his. 19 points to 0 with Spartans trailing, wanting to put points on the board this evening, and it looks like the ref is going to let that play on. Looked like it came off a knee there. 17, Ben Tyndall taking the ball in. A little bit too high. Wanting the ball there, wanting the ball. Caleb Van Til, first man, clapping his hands. Give me the ball. Look at that hunger. Not releasing the man. Again, probably the 6th time that call has been made by the referee this evening. Both teams guilty of that happening, and Daniel de Vries taking a knee and looked like he's injured his hand. Not nice to see that. The medic calling for a substitution straight away. I hope he's okay. And on the pitch now is big David Weggett. The big man will coming in with fresh legs, and has got an opportunity here to run off this line-out base straight off the way. The Trinity supporters trying to rally their team, get a little bit of excitement going on here, and a platform maul taken back straight away. Can Finn get clean ball? There we go. And David's got an opportunity to enter the game straight away and clear his man. Finn calling for his forwards. Come on here. We need to put some phases together. Trinity just happy to pick and go at the moment and use the ball off, that ball straight off, and keep the ball close to their forward packs. They're going to pick again. They're going to just drive and try, hopefully grind down this Wildcats defense here. Again, Wildcats, are they going to remain patient? They're remaining close and patient here. Now, who's going to be the person to dictate the mood here? Max Darcy has got to be talking to now. Max puts his hand up. Now, are they going to go right here? Finn to Max. Sloppy ball. Keegan Marengo goes wide there. I think that was Matthew Willemse tries to pick up the pace, and rightly so. they need to do something special, and it's going to take something a little bit of like that can shift the transition on the game. Keegan and Finn have got to be talking to each other, happy to just drive this ball, the Spartans. And can they convert this pressure into points? Pressure into points is the name of the game. Finn just happy to keep them rolling, keep them rolling, keep them rolling. And it's got to be said, the Wildcats are answering all the questions here. Defensively, they've been patient, and somebody going way too high there. Oh. A wild pass there from Willemse, looking to put pressure on, and is that the ball that you want? I don't think so. I think that the ball has got to go through the hands there. He's got to go through the hands, and they've got to go runners. But I understand the frustration experienced there by Matthew. Matthew's looking for somebody to do something. And unfortunately, after 6, 7, 8 phases of just trying to crash the ball, and you realize this defensive line isn't breaking down, what are we going to do differently? And you want, off that point, somebody changing the direction and making a different line, a runner running off you. Unfortunately, everyone's flattened. We back at near the halfway line, and Wildcats are going to breathe a big sigh of relief. Be happy that they're not off their line, and that will be a knock to the Spartan confidence, saying we were so close, guys, but yet we were so far, and a disappointment to not come away from that part of the pitch with points. Again, a game can change very, very quickly. Momentum can shift quickly. But it's important that they do the fundamentals. Part of those fundamentals in making sure you hit your lineup. Halliday with the ball coming in and again putting his head down. Lovely. Love watching that. For me, that's exciting. And we've got Max Darcy now stepping into number 10. It looks like Scott Bauer. Big chase there for Connor Bernard. And is he going to... Yes, he does. He does take him. Well done, Connor. He's got to move away now. He's got to roll away. Otherwise, he will be penalized. There we go. And that's the same call. Connor takes him. He finds himself on the wrong side of the Wildcat on their side. And they're going to hold him in and force the penalty. It's tough. Connor makes a good tackle, but just doesn't... Those are just some of the fundamentals. You tackle and you've got to move away. You've done all the hard work. Now just finish strong. Unlucky from the young boy there. Number 16, Campbell Rob with the throw at the line. Since he's come on, he's been incredibly accurate. Wildcats will be thankful that they've got depth at this hooker position. And a relic ball that's competed and it goes wide. Another try. And it was Lewis Holdridge that set up the whole thing, running with the ball in hand, running with pace and excitement down the wing. Show goes, got opportunity on the outside. Is it the right decision? Takes it in, and then is able to get the ball across the line. He started it fantastic, and he's had a great game, Lewis. I think he's made all the right decisions. He's been able to send the ball wide. He's been able to run the ball. He had a great game so far. No, in the game of rugby is 15 on 15, but really it's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3s, and it's those individual matchups that you have to win. It's the scrum, it's the line out, it's the tackle on your opposite number, it's putting your opposite number under pressure on the high ball. We are 24-0 and just wide of the post. That's 3 from 5. for Lewis Hold, who's, credit to him, still had the energy to kick the ball after running most of the pitch here, showing and going, and still stepping up to take the kick. "24 unanswered points today," and that's a great take by Caleb Van Til, and it looks like it's going to be penalized because he's taken out in the air. Again, they are very, very fortunate to come off without a yellow card there. Very dangerous to be taking a man in the air like that. And now opportunity to kick the ball into the Wildcats half. With the line-out thrower, Scott Bowers having to hit his man here. Who's going to be the target? Kyle Morfitt on the pitch now, and Caleb Van Til, whose hand showed there that he's more than capable of taking the hard ball. I'd be directing Caleb here. Looks like he is the man. Free kick here, so the ball didn't go 5 meters. So during a line-out, the line-out between the 5 meters and the 15-meter line, the ball, the line-out sets up in that, and it's important that it has to go at least to that 5-meter line. Ball goes through the hands here, and the first time we've been able to see Lyndon Duggan with the ball in his hand. Very exciting to see that ball, and he's got pace when he pins his ear backwards, but it's a turnover. And now it's been a similar sight today. Wildcats running hard, and a big stick by the Spartans there in the middle of the park. Not sure who that stick was, but who else but Halliday making the stick. Halliday making a big tackle in the middle of the park. All the fundamentals low, makes a stick, and off the back of that, just doing your fundamentals right, there's a turnover. So much to be said by sticking to the basics. And an opportunity for Willemse to clear the ball. Now, can they convert into points here? 24 unanswered points, 5 in the first half, 19 in the second half so far to the Wildcats, and a score on the board this evening would change the whole dynamics of this game. First time we've seen a pod going forward, and it looks like that's gone backwards, and the ball is thrown away. The ball is loose, going all over, and whoever was tackled there looks like they have stayed on the ground. Questions have got to be asked. Finn makes way here for the replacement scrum half to hopefully inject a little bit of excitement into this game and control the pace of it. I think, like I mentioned before, Lewis and Noah Wright have had the best of the day today, with the replacement scrum half, Kai Jones, on, and hoping to dominate his other number, Isaiah De Peza. Little break and play here with one of the Wildcats players down, 24 points to nothing. Central Washington University leading the Trinity Western Spartans. Last time they played each other was in February 14th, 2020. Valentine's Day 2020, and that day was not a day of love for the Spartans, where they lost 76-10. A day not to be remembered too fondly in the Spartans' history books. Today, a different team. And a lot will be said by the first half that the Spartans played. You know, the beginning of the second half, they haven't been able to emulate the kind of pace, physicality, discipline, culture, and unity that they showed in the first half. The second half has been all over the place, and to be fair, they've been on their back foot for most of that. Credit to the Wildcats, who've played remarkably well the second half, came out playing in a different gear, managed to find sixth gear in the second half, and have put 19 unanswered points on the board this evening. Questions have got to be asked to the Trinity Western Spartans faithful who've come out this evening. Will they see their team cross the white line today? Will momentum shift? Who will be the player that puts up his hand? Who will be the player that decides to take leadership here? Interesting here with Caleb Girth off the pitch. I'm not too sure who's captaining the side at the moment, but more than a title, more than a label of captain, you're looking for somebody who's going to show leadership. You know, the age-old saying that everything rises and falls on leadership, and it's moments where your back's against the wall here, and the Spartans' backs are most definitely against the wall. 24 points to nil. Will they come back? Will they have a player, 2 players, 3 players that will inspire performance of a team and be able to bring them back into this game? Still so much to play for here. Central Washington University Wildcats will be happy with the way that they've played so far. We'll be thankful that the momentum is with them, and we want to put points on the board here. Again, not releasing the tackler. Lewis Holds making sure of the finding touch. Wildcats have seen them run the similar phase off here. Usually come short man lineup, then into the first pod, and then a pick and go, or either another pod coming around it, and then they release it. Usually 2 or 3 phases before it goes to the backs. It looks like they're going to be a little bit different here because the forwards are having to be sucked in here, and it looks like they're going to be playing off 10 at the moment. Trinity, look at the body position. The body position needs to get low, and everyone needs to put their heads down and put the body on the line here. Another penalty. And Wildcats decide to go for the line out again, and will set out in a very similar formation that they have done a couple of times, looking for clean ball off this, and then it will go to that pod waiting to be received. They decide to keep it tight and get this maul rolling. Trinity are trying to hold up the maul, and referees talking to the team. It's messy, that maul. It's messy, and it looks like it's the momentum stopped. But now they set up their pods, and they're running hard at the Spartan defense. Every man has got to make their tackle, and looks like they're over the line. Are they held up? It looks like that ball is held up. And the new previous rules meant that there would be a 5-meter scrum to the attacking team. The new rules state that if a team is held up, the defending team then gets a drop out off their try line. And so Willems is just going to have to put his laces through the ball, try and get some momentum, and it's going to be start all over again. I think this is a desire for the Laws to be running a little bit quicker. Missed tackle there by Isaiah DePriza. Jan Lawrence is scrum off, trying to talk here. Ball goes around the back and a little bit loose at the back. Given too much time to be able to showboat a little bit with their feet. And looks like the Trinity Western Spartans are offside. Somebody there being a little bit of lack of discipline in the middle of the park. And you've let your whole team down. You've let your whole team, and you're looking backwards again. And now we're back in a similar position. It's become too familiar. It's almost like you could put a tent up there and start camping on your 5-meter line. This is not, you don't want to be camping. You want to be camping on the other opposition's 5-meter or their 10-meter line. Something has got to change in this game, and it's going to require something special to change the momentum here. A clean take there at the line out. Wildcats moving forward. Trusting their pack, and one of the things that I have to say about the Wildcats, they've trusted their pack, they've trusted their players, they've worked in pods, they haven't ran as individuals. There's a little individual there who seems to have broke through the line, and unfortunately, as I say that, that's the commentators, I don't want to say curse, I don't believe, but as a commentator, they start working in pods, and the moment I say that, one player breaks routine, cuts off himself, and then there's a turnover. Again, there's power in numbers. Those pods need to be formed together, and the great thing is you've got the power and the momentum of 2 or 3 people off your hips, taking the ball and then clearing, either momentum pushing you forward, or the moment you hit that deck are able to clear over you and provide a platform for the ball for the next pod. That man, unfortunately, going a little bit askew, taking the ball on his own and maybe getting a bit of white line fever, looking to score, try and put his name in lights. And because of that, it's a turnover with Jan Lawrence with the ball in his hand, our replacement scrum off today. And can Jan inspire this pack? Can he be a missing link that Trinity are looking for to inspire their game, to end this game with points, or end them at least in the Wildcats half? Ball comes out here. It's a turnover on the try line, and the Trinity are having to throw big tackles and make sacrifices in their body, and looks like there's been a small knock on, it looks like, and Trinity have got the ball in their hands again. So a small knock on there by the Wildcats. They'll be disappointed with that. They've been on this try line a lot, and to be fair, in the beginning of this first half, this would have been points on the board. Trinity can take a little bit of confidence here. They've actually, their defensive effort recently has been great, but it's a tiring game, making tackle after tackle after tackle. You want to be running with ball in hand and not moving backwards. Going backwards the whole evening isn't the way that rugby is meant to be played. It's on the front foot, and Trinity are going to want to have ball in hand. They're going to want to start running and show them what they're about, but unfortunately it's really difficult to do that. Their priority here is securing the scrum, and you saw with our replacement props and maybe a lack of experience there, definitely the battle of the front row was won in the first half by the Spartans, but losing Favor and Grayson in the second half, the platform has not been as clean. And to be fair, Jan Lawrence is only as good as this forward pack can produce a ball for him. It's a knock-on. It's like a game of dominoes. The first domino goes with the forward pack, and then if that's messy, then the scrum half doesn't have clean ball, and if the scrum half doesn't have clean ball, then the ball is shooting out, and the 8th man or the back row is struggling to contain that ball, and then the ball is coming loose to a fullback or a fly half that's under a lot of pressure, and he's not able to get the clearing that he would like. This is a game of knock-on effects, and it's got to start here with the forwards. The forwards have got to create a base. Can they do that? This is the time to do it. Right on your line. This is when your team needs you to show up. Put your head in and create the base, and it looks like it's a little bit more stable. Scrum's going down. And unfortunately, as I explained, the referee penalizing the forward pack for engaging too early, potentially, or putting down. Cheeky little kick there by Wildcats, and you can't fault the effort there, looking for a quick cross-field cover. To be fair, I think it took the Spartans napping, but not able to convert it into points. Here, line-out throw here by Scott Bowers. And can these replacements, can he hit the run of the replacement? They want clean ball, turnover ball. Wildcats turning the ball over. And Spartans defensively again. Wildcats a little bit flat-footed in the defensive. I'd like them to see them running just like that little run there, boom. And the whole dynamic changes of offense when there's a man running at pace. Great stick there. Great defensively here. Ball held up. And again, Trinity are going to have a try line dropout. Put it into space. They've got to come up together, everyone together, and get to realign again. Is that an accidental obstruction there? Willems are making the hit. Now they're on the back foot. You see the game changes. The whole feeling of the vibe of the game is when a team that's been on their front foot the whole time is going backwards. It's unnerving. And there we go. And that ball's got to go on the ground. Can they jump on this, the Spartans? Going backwards, or is referee playing advantage? No advantage gained there. They're going to come back to the original knock-on. Put in will be for the Spartans over there. Nice to see the referee playing a little bit of advantage. Unfortunately, no advantage gained there by the scrum halves. And interesting that of all players to be first to the breakdown, Scott Bowers, probably one of the biggest men on the park, and yet he's still willing to put in the hard yards. And I just admire that. The big fella, first to the breakdown, big fella putting his body on the line. Exciting to see that. And you know, it's at this part of the game that you really see your characters come to the forefront. It's when you start seeing what men are really made of in this team, and whose head's dropping and whose head's lifting here, and whose head's willing to take a chance, a calculated gamble, and who's willing to bring that little bit of X factor to the team. This is the first time for a long time that the Spartans are just inside of the Wildcats half. They'll be excited to be out of their 22. In fact, they'll be excited to be off their try line. Jan with the put in. Isaiah on the wing here next to us. I'd love to see him with the ball in hands. We've only saw a little bit of Lyndon Duggan, and the little bit that we did see, it was great. I think he only had one run this game, but the run that he did have, man, it was exciting. Gained a lot of yards and put his ears down and was exciting to watch. I love watching the quick men out wide with the ball in hand, but unfortunately the ball hasn't got very much far outside of number 13 today. We haven't seen the ball run through the hands of the Trinity Western backline, and this is where it starts. And penalty here. Taken quickly. And look at the Wildcats just committing bodies there, and now trying to disrupt it, and now can they? David, unfortunately, there. David Vingott just take his eyes off the ball, concerned about taking the hit before he even has that ball in hand, and now we're looking at a turnover. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of our game. The referee blows the final whistle. 24 points to 0, with the points going in the way of the Wildcats, and a game here this evening that is a tale of two halves. If you look at the first half, I think Trinity will take a lot of confidence away from that first half. Played remarkably well. The defensive structure, the attacking structure was fantastic, and they showed up and they answered all the question of the Wildcats that threw on them in the first half. And if Wildcats thought that they were going to roll Trinity over like they did in 2020, they were in for a rude awakening. And the Wildcats, with only able to put 5 points on the board in the first half, with Keegan Marenga an opportunity to put 3 points on, missing that penalty. But the second half was a whole nother story, where Wildcats came out of the changing room fired up and excited about being able to convert some of the pressure that they had seen on the first half into points. And then with 19 unanswered points in the second half, our final score here is 24 points to 0 to the Spartans. And I think the coaching setup we'll be looking at today, looking at some of their players and that opportunity to rotate the bench. You can't say that the dynamics definitely changed having Favor and Grayson come off the pitch and not having a clear leader like Caleb Girth, who wasn't able to be there. And that lack of leadership definitely results in them putting some points against them. First half for me, the player that I just absolutely loved, who answered everything defensively, was Colin Lagarde. I think he really kept them in the game. At the beginning of the game, we were talking about Jack Wendeling, the vice captain and the US Sevens player, who really was shut out in this game by a phenomenal performance by his by the opposite inside center, Colin Lagarde. And credit must also go to Ethan Bernard and those two working in tandem in the first half. My player of the match, however, has got to go to Lewis Holdridge, who was remarkable on offense, stepped up and converted 3 of his 5 conversions, and was remarkable throughout the game. I think he dictated play. He was a leader. He communicated well. He distributed ball. He kept it tight. And in those decision-making moments, those crucial moments of the game, I think it's got to be said that the team from Ellensburg, Washington, the Central Washington University, made the best decisions, and Wildcats will be happy on that bus ride home with 24 points to 0. Again, a lot of positives to be taken back. I want to thank, again, our sponsors, Southwest Contracting, amazing, and for their incredible support. Heavy PDG, outstanding, and having Westwoods Contracting as well, who are our main contractors, having that prize position on the jersey. If you want to get involved with Trinity Athletics or the rugby program in particular, please contact us. It's Andre Lesieux. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. We hope that we would tune in for all further broadcasts on the 10th of February, almost 8:45 here Pacific time. Thank you for wherever this finds you. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever this finds you. God bless. Good night.